Here is a Lasko 3733. This is an older one from mid to late 90s. And there's something wrong with this. It says do not use. And I don't know what the heck kind of atrocity transpired with the handle. This one was given to me by the channel Exclusively Inefficient Appliances. This ironically is actually an inefficient appliance, and this needs to be repaired. So I believe there is some kind of issue with the wire connecting from the speed into the windings. So let's get this opened up and we'll take a look at that connector and see if we can repair it and get this running once again. 3733. So we'll begin with the removal of the guards. And this one, like many others, has very D-blade set, which is unfortunate. I think I'm going to attempt an experiment with this particular blade, just because it's so bad. It's kind of to the point where there's not much to lose if it gets messed up. But I'll see. Guards are in fairly decent condition. They certainly need to be cleaned, but only a couple slats missing, nothing major. That's cool. I just throw a screw on the floor. Here it is. Front guard looks to be pretty much perfect. And here's our grossly warped D-blade, which is something feels wonky about this motor. It seems like it's not screwed in all the way. And the blade is just totally, yeah, it's not screwed in all the way. This is one of the worst ones I've seen. It's warped forwards and back. So what happens on these is they should really be like this, but over the years, for whatever reason, they decide to warp up like this, and then it doesn't scoop the air properly. And I'm pretty sure this should be more like that, not bent up like this. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this in the dishwasher just like this on the bottom rack, and I wonder if the heat might kind of just let the blades droop back down. It's a long shot, but I'm going to try it. I'd like to detach the switch, but I'm not sure it's worth playing with. Pass it through that way. Alright, we'll just deal with it like this for the moment, just so I can see what the problem is. This is so not ideal. Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely repairable. How easily this is going to be repaired, that I don't know. At least now we should be able to pass this stuff through. We've got multiple breaks in these windings. Okay, this is actually worse than I thought it was when I first saw it. Alright, we're going to be putting some hours on this for sure. This is not going to be easy. So it looks like we have potentially, well, at least one break and then multiple disconnects from the piece that joins the lead wires to the windings themselves. Alright, so this is what I'm most concerned about, because this looks like a full-on break. Because I don't know if that is able to reach over there or not. Come on, this is important here. Hello? 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 Dumb, stupid idiot. Okay. So, oh boy. Alright. Yeah, so what's happened here is, I'm guessing that, no, that can't be our break to that. We've got two wires down here that have broken off. I need to find out where those go to. I think that this connector is able to detach. I want to make sure we get some clear pictures of what's here first before we detach it, because I don't have, I'm not sure anybody has a schematic of this stator. So once this, you know, we probably have enough pieces connected that we can figure out where stuff goes and put it back, but once this really starts to come apart, we won't know anymore. So just make sure we get some really good pictures of the way this is, which is not the way it's supposed to be. And that should be good. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to see if we can take apart this connector, because I'm not going to be able to work on it like this. I'm pretty sure that this will come apart. I'm just not sure how. Looks like it just pulls out. Hello?
Hello.
Who are you?
Hi, sir. My name is James from Green Energy Group. How are you?
You have to realize that's not believable, right?
Sir, this call is about
No,
solar
listen.
program. Are you
Listen to
serious
what
to
I'm
ask the
saying.
homeowner?
Listen to what I'm saying before you start reading the script. You have to realize that the script is not believable, correct? Hello? This is not easy to remove at all. I'm not sure if that's because it's not meant to be removed, or I'm just not doing it right, or it's a combination of both, which is probably more likely. This appears to be some kind of like a crimp connector. Interesting. It looks to have a similar apparatus to this switch. So I probably need to jam something in each one of these to get it to release. I'm not sure I want to mess with this apparatus. I'd rather fix the ribbon cable. Alright, so it's fairly obvious to me that these are three different colors, and it looks like this one needs to go back onto there, and this one needs to go back on there. That makes sense. What I don't know is, where does this go? And quite possibly it needs to go why will this piece not move back? This is getting very irritating. Move away so I can see the stinking wiring. I think that that third wire probably has to go on the end here, because there's nothing. That's not a good match. We're gonna have to probably completely rework this whole connection apparatus here, because now are these so poorly varnished that I could just take off one turn? Go ahead. Hello? Hello? Oh, that's cool. So we're going to have to now extend all these windings, all these winding patches, because now the wires is too short. How does this sit in here? I don't remember how this was sitting in here. Is it like this? I think that's the way it was. I think it just goes like that. Alright, this has to come off of here. It just does. I can't repair it with this on here. What the heck, this is like indestructible. Come on, you've got to be kidding. There we go. Alright, I want to lose the orientation that this goes in. I need to mark this. I'm going to put a mark here indicating this is where the blue was, the blue line. I suspect this is really bad today. This is not typical. Go ahead. I suspect the... Hello? Is this legitimate call? I suspect the blue line is the common. And that would kind of make sense because it looks like it goes in over to here where the thermal cutoff would be, which would open the circuit. Now I can actually see what's going on in here. Well, that unfortunately did not answer as many questions as I was hoping it would. Unless, is this just a break to itself? It is the right kind of, it's the right color. I wonder if that's a break into itself. I don't think it is though, because the slack doesn't quite make any sense. I can see where this wire goes, so this I can account for. That, I see where that goes, that's taken care of. This one, I'm going to say that this probably went on here like that. So we're going to say that this one I know where it goes. That leaves these two. And the problem is there's only one more break coming out of the connector. We might need to open up another one of these motors that's in good working order and see if we can find out what the logic of this is. I think that's what we're going to do. I happen to have another identical one, so we're going to take a look at the motor in this one and see if we can get the information I need. On this one, the blade is still in decent condition. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but it's a lot better than these usually are at this point in time. Actually, some of these blades are worse than others. That's kind of weird. And this is just like a total molding defect. What the heck is going on? That was weird. Okay, it does look like this one's identical, which is good. Sometimes, you know, Lasko is kind of weird over the years, and sometimes they would use different parts and different motors and so forth. It looks like these are definitely identical, so we should be able to figure out how this is going to work. Wish I had a magnifying glass. This is really small. Okay, so it's definitely the same apparatus. And it looks like this wire coming out of this winding went over the top of this. And as I had guessed, it does go right there. So that wire goes there. So that's accounted for. This wire, okay, now this is getting a little complicated. Actually, it looks like this wire and this other green looking one both need to go all the way to the left. So we'll call that one accounted for. Now these two, this is where it gets dodgy. We still have these two that are very similar in color. No, actually they are different. I hear music. It's copyright. Shut that off! Unfortunately, this other motor is kind of dirty and it's hard to see the difference in the coloring. But it looks like that's only one wire, so whatever that matches is its own thing, and then the other wire has to go here. Alright, so now I understand our logic here. So what we're going to have to do next is we're going to have to add leads to all of these pieces that broke because there's not enough slack to put it back. And then we're going to have to figure out how to reattach it into this apparatus. It kind of looks like these are just kind of pressed in there. I wonder if these would come out and we can redo it. Okay, yep, it is just a little press fit thing with the wire in the middle. Okay. Alright, I understand what we're working with now. It's not going to be easy, but I think we can salvage it. So this wire, which does this match more? It definitely matches this more. Wow, look how poorly varnished this is. I can actually just unwind it. Wow. It's a miracle these things don't burn out more often than they do. Alright, so we're going to say that this wire here, actually, you know what? Can I just take off one loop? Oh wow. Okay. gonna take off one turn to avoid having to patch it. Get away with that there. Can I get away with that over here too? It's not looking like it. Well, still having to patch only one wire is better than having to patch a multitude of wires. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. This one I'm going to have to patch. Okay, actually that just got super simple, being able to take that out of there like that. So, for heaven's sakes. Go ahead. Is this a legitimate call? It was a duck. It's not a legitimate call. Go ahead.
Hope you are doing good.
This is definitely not
Hello.
legitimate.
Hope you are doing good.
You're a psychopath.
My name is Freya, calling from
What the heck kind of a
Solutions.
name is that?
Were you by any chance involved in an accident in the past 24 months?
Oh shoot, something else just broke off of here now.
Okay, I'll now pass you over to our intake department. They'll take it from here.
Thank you so much for connecting with Auto Claim Solution and a vehicle is line. How are you?
Why would you record yourself scamming somebody? That's idiotic.
Okay, do you have any minor accident in the past 2 years, like as a passenger, as a pedestrian, as a dog bite accident, or maybe slip into fall accident you had?
You called me, I'm going to ask the questions. Why would you record yourself? Okay. So this wire just broke off now, so now we have another piece we have to put back on. But let's get these original three that broke back on, because I understand the logic of them now. Let's get these back in place before we lose the logic. So we know that this one here has to go here. That one goes there like that. So these little pieces here, this is kind of cool, because what this does is when you put the wire into this, it actually cuts through the insulation on the wire here, so we don't have to do anything weird to make this work. It's just going to start working as we push this in here. Now actually getting it to go in here is a whole different story. That might not be easy. I imagine there is a tool that does this, but I don't have it. The wire's just breaking. There's most definitely some kind of tool for this. There has to be. I just don't know what it is. Oh man, that was not in the frame. I hope it was. I might have to kind of open this up a little bit maybe. Oh man, this is really tough. just barely doesn't fit in there. I almost need, let's see if these will fit in there. I need something that will just open this up ever so slightly. I'm not sure how we're going to get this on. It's a very, very small piece. Very small opening here. I open it up just a little bit like that, maybe I can just crimp it back shut. Okay, I think that worked. I feel like that's properly reattached now. Oh no, something else broke off too. Oh, this is not good. They're all breaking off because it's been flexed too many times. That's one part back the way it needs to be. Now the next one looks like these two need to just go back to that middle one there. I don't know much about rewinding motors. I'm sure it's a precise operation. I don't know if, you know, missing one turn is going to throw anything off. I suppose it potentially could. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I might just barely be able to get that back in there. Seems to be kind of willing to just push in with a screwdriver. Mangled the wire too much. Every time this flexes, we become less and less likely to be able to repair this. I don't know why this won't go down now. Oh, that's because we're putting it upside down. It goes like this. Duh. Okay, well, we got that fixed. Next we need to reattach this wire to this third one over from the right. And then this wire goes to there, I think. And that just leaves us with these two. One of which has to go there, and then I guess by elimination the other one has to go over to there. ahead. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Who are you?
Good afternoon. My name is Emily. The new Trump administration has changed the Medicare policies for your state of Connecticut. So let's find out what benefits you can get. You currently have both Medicare Part A and B, right?
You're illegitimate.
That's not the case.
Yes, it is the case.
I just wanted to share some valuable information about our new plans, which have reduced premium rates and enhanced coverage options, like hospital visits and doctor consultations. So you're currently enrolled for Part A and B of Medicare, right?
So you're currently lying through the telephone, right? Which is wrong. It's wrong to do that. It's unethical. It's immoral. It's...
Let's talk about this some other time.
No, we're not talking about it some other time. Just shut up and leave me alone. Leave everybody alone. Stop ripping people off. Stop lying through the telephone. You shouldn't even be allowed to have a telephone. Oh, this one broke in the process. Dang it. There's just too much movement here. Go ahead. Hello? Just broke another one. This is very difficult. Lost another one. This is not good, running out of slack on this one now. Of course, the last one is going to cause all sorts of problems. It's showing no interest in coming out. It's got to have extra force because of the thermal fuse or something, wire being so big. Not making a lot of progress. There we go. Great. We might have to just solder this one on. Alright, it looks like everything is reconnected now. So let's get the meter out and do some continuity checks. It's really turned out to be a beautiful day today. It's 85 degrees over 49%. Excellent. This is a telltale sign that somebody else used my multimeter recently. So across the common here, we should get some readings to each of these. 19.5, 26.1, and this one is not making contact, so potentially what's happened is I just didn't get a good connection on the crimp. Well, we got 2 out of 3 I'm pretty sure are going to work. Alright, so let's redo this one crimp here and see if we can fix this. Seems like it would have gotten a good connection. I'm surprised that it didn't work. Unless it broke somewhere else along the lines here, but I don't think so. Well, it don't look broken anymore. Huh. Actually, it does feel kind of loose in there. Maybe it didn't get a good connection. We're still not getting anything across that winding. That's unfortunate. I don't think, oh wait, there we got 26 for a minute. What was that, just from the other one? Yeah. I don't think it's a connection issue at this point. I think it's making a connection. I wonder what went wrong here. Try a fresh spot on the wire. I don't think that it's broken anywhere past there, but something else to try. I otherwise don't know why it wouldn't be making a connection. Now we're getting a reading. It's not exactly the reading I would have expected, but we're getting a reading. It's in between these other two. Maybe it was broken after that point. I find that really bizarre, but I suppose it's not inconceivable. And just broke. Nothing again. Getting momentary readings that I would expect, but then it goes away, so there's got to be a lousy connection here somewhere. Just can't tell where it is. I hope it's not there. Though, quite frankly, this is so poorly varnished, I could probably pull it back out. I can. Alright, let's try a fresh spot one more time. Actually, no, just for the curiosity of it, what does this one read? So I know if we're getting the right number or not. These readings are just all over the place. clean the contacts of the prongs, I guess. It was a similar number to what I saw when it was making connections, so I really think we just have a connection issue here for some reason. I don't know why this one in particular is having so much trouble. Let's try a different approach. Let's try to just scrape the insulation off, and then we'll jam it in the thing with, you know, just jam it in there regular. This is what we would do if we had to solder it to something. Just scrape the varnish off. Now, will we get a connection if we go from here to here? We do. We've got a connection. Okay, so I really think that we should be able to salvage this. There's nothing. But where does the connectivity go? I don't know. Okay, now we got something. But it's a weird reading. These other ones are very stable. Why is this one flaky? I don't understand what's going on with this particular winding here. You might need to solder it then. don't know. Yeah, I can see the number I expect, but it comes and goes. Maybe we'll have to solder to this one. I don't know why it's not making a good connection. There's nothing different about it than the others. It really doesn't make any sense. Now it's stable. No, no it's not. Now it's stable. So I think for some reason we're just not getting a good connection. So let's try soldering it. Still don't understand why the reading is so flaky and inconsistent on the meter. It's got a good connection now. Oh, actually, now it's flaky with everything. Let's see. Oh, that's stable. That's stable. But this, it's just not stable. I don't know why. I'm hoping that once we solder to this it'll get a good enough connection to work reliably, but I can clearly see the wire underneath here. The insulation has all been removed. I don't know why it's not getting a good connection. Doesn't make sense. Now I'm not getting anything anymore. Before I was getting some kind of flaky readings, now I just get nothing. I don't know where the connectivity is going. Doesn't make sense. Hello? Hello? Just don't get it. Why is it not there? The other ones are so stable, and you hook up to this one and it's like nothing. It was getting readings before. Now it's getting something. maybe there's a break in this winding somewhere. Sure doesn't look like it. It looks totally fine. I hate when things don't make any sense. These two I don't think have anything to do with it. And the only way to totally rule this out would be to now go through here and instead of using these connectors would just be to strip back the insulation manually and solder them on so that we know it's getting a good connection. There's something is wrong here. Oh, there's what we want. So this might be loose in here then. That's the reading I want. That's 33, which is sequentially more than that one and more than that one. So the problem might actually be sitting right here with this connection. We might be going after the wrong, yeah, that's perfect right there. It's reliable, it's steady. Okay, so we might be going after the wrong problem then. I think that might be what's going on. Going after the wrong area. Well, let's stick this in here. Nothing. That just doesn't make sense. Why does it keep changing? Oh, there we go. That's what we want. 34. I think we're going to solder both of these. There's obviously something that's not quite right here. This is all reading good. This is about 22. It's 27 and 34. So that's all pretty reasonable. We just need to get it to the point where that's a steady reading. So let's do some soldering. I think that will help us get this a little more reliable. Well, we'll start with this one. Let's just solder this on there. still hot. Alright, let's put this back in here now. I bet that one is making a connection. It's probably this one that wasn't. This is not an easy thing to solder to at all. Alright, now let's see what we get. Nothing. This is ludicrous. 32. Okay, now it's pretty consistent. Alright, I think we've alleviated that problem. Those are all pretty good, reasonable resistance readings. So now the last thing we got to do is reconnect to the thermal fuse, the common, which is this one here. This kind of became too short, so I think what I'll do is I'll just jumper thermal fuse a little bit longer over here, and then I'll have to make the connection over here with like a string tube. I gotta get some small wire. I'm not sure what kind of wire this even is. I would think that it should be good enough. Appears to be about the same gauge. Let's see if it says anything on there. This is, you know, moving a low amount of power, so it's unlikely to be a problem. This is 20 or 22 gauge, I think it says. We're going to use it. Clean spot, and we just need it to go not very far at all. 20 gauge according to this. No, 18 solid. I'm pretty sure it's the same gauge with the power cord. It always gets risky trying to solder this close to the fuse because you can trip the fuse. And this is not a resetting switch, this is a thermal fuse. It's a one-time fuse. That should give us a good enough area to solder to. Yep, this is not working very well at all. None of this has been easy to solder to. I wonder in this case if it's in part because we're burning off the whatever's remaining of the varnish probably. It'll work. And yeah, we did melt off the varnish. You can see it on the piece of rock here. Okay, so what we'll do is this will just kind of sit here like this. We'll put some shrink tubing over it. Okay. Now, I'd like to see if we can just kind of stick this in here with the other one and then put that thing down in there wherever it went. Soldering that close to the fuse, it's going to be very difficult to not blow the fuse. Kind of set that like this. But actually, I feel like this was just friction fit against that thing to begin with. And then we put this is too long, isn't it? Yeah, gotta cut this back. Let's try to cut it back too much and then we can redo it. And this one's a little bit mangled. Not ideal. Let's see if it still offers any kind of functionality. Alright, let's see what we got here on the meter. This last one is still a little flaky. don't know why. None of the other ones are like that. They're all very reliable. Well, I think that this is going to work again. That was quite the mess, but I think that this is going to work. So, obviously we have to re-varnish the living daylights out of this thing at this point. But I want to try to put it back together enough so we can just test it, even if we run through the speeds at 2 seconds a piece. I just want to see it operate somewhat normally, and then we can take it back apart and re-varnish it. Oh, I'm getting hungry. It's time to take a break for lunch soon. I'm going to put this one back together before anything goes wrong with this. Failed to put the screws in the correct direction. And I failed to line it up properly. No, I did put the screws in the correct direction. I didn't have it lined up properly the first time. I'm just going to put this one aside for now. Now we do still have a bit of a mess here because we have to figure out how to reconnect the motor back to the lead wires. Wish I had a spare ribbon cable. Okay, we're back. I just took a break for lunch and now we gotta finish this up. So, we gotta reattach this into here, which is going to be a slight challenge. More just of a time-consuming process than a necessarily difficult process. But this went on here like this, and so this needs to get connected like this. So put that on. Looks to me like, okay, that goes out the back like that. So, this ends up going like this. I'm not sure how precise of a fit this needs to be. Not very precise at all. I think I think that's as closed as it needs to. No, it's not. That is going to be a problem. So the problem is that this wire is not letting this close correctly. I got to increase this fan a little bit. It's hot down here. It's 88 degrees. So yeah, it's getting a little bit sweaty down here. But it's only 48% humidity, so it feels pretty nice still. Not enough to use air conditioner. You just put a fan on it, it fully takes care of it. Alright, so we have to change the way this wire is routing out of here. Earthquake down here. That should solve that problem, I think. Now the way this is supposed to work is very similar in concept to the mechanism inside the switches, where this would be kind of closed. This would be closed and then the wire gets pushed in there and it's like self-crimping, but this is kind of screwed up now. So I don't think that we are going to be able to do that as it would have been before. And that might also have something to do with why this is not closing properly. Yeah, it's getting stuck on these things now. One of them just broke off. Maybe the rest would be pieces of junk and break off as well. They will. That is now down as far as it should go, so it's ready to close now. So we just have to figure out how to reconnect this now, because the previous connection method is no longer an option. I could probably just stick the wires in there and crimp them all down. just needs to go like this. So I'm gonna get some fresh, non-busted pieces out. Strip the other side while I'm at it. We're going to need to do that for testing purposes anyways. I wonder if we should drop some solder in there. It might be of benefit to do so. Yeah, I tend to think that we should. What I can do is I will try to physically clamp it as much as possible. And then I think we should add some of the solder. That's not going to hold it. Alright, that's what I'll do. I'll solder it, and then we'll test it. Once we have a good test, we'll re-varnish. I just wanted to check it before we set everything in here, and it's not working. This is actually starting to get a little frustrating now. So for some reason, we no longer have continuity between... That's good. We no longer have continuity between this terminal, like we did before, and any of these. Well, now we do. So this connection's dodgy. And now, of course, this last one here is just dead already. For no reason. I don't know why this one keeps stopping working. So now we have to go back in here, figure out why this one is not getting a connection. I just don't understand why this one is so flaky. There's no reason for this one to be so flaky. I can't get anything out of it now. We had a perfect reading before lunch, and now after lunch we have nothing. I don't understand what changed. This really is getting frustrating with this particular one not making a connection. I can't get any correct readings out of it in a blip of time. Hello? Hello? Gosh, this It's awful today. I just don't understand what's going on, because if it was, you know, if it was an issue with the insulation not making contact, that should have been solved the last time I redid it. So why did it stop working all of a sudden? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. Why is this not making a connection? I'm running out of slack here. I'm doing something that doesn't even make sense. This is not the answer to just keep redoing this, but right back the insulation one more time. Got a good clear part of the wire to work with now. Completely cleaned off. Just try to go all the way around. Okay. You should be able to see that on the video. It's perfectly clean. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Why does this keep doing this? It shouldn't change. Why does it change? Something over here again? Is this loose now? This is not having any impact on it anymore. I just don't understand what changed in the last half an hour that I stepped away from this. That it went from perfect to not working at all. There's absolutely no reason that this should not be working. To just solder these two windings together and forgo that dumb connector? Is this where the source of the problem is? I don't know, it's something we can try. I'd hate to put all this time into it and it turns out the thing's unreliable for some reason. that didn't fix it. Has zero impact on the situation here. So I don't understand, where did the connectivity go? Why is there no longer any continuity at all? This is so frustrating. Ah, now the whole thing's dead. And nothing anywhere anymore. You gotta be kidding. Wow. The whole thing is dead now. What is going on with this? There's gotta be some kind of loose connection somewhere, but we've been through all the connections. I just don't get it. I don't get it at this point. I don't understand what's wrong with this anymore. It was working before, and now it doesn't work, but nothing changed. That's nonsense. That is total nonsense. Oh, now it works all of a sudden. Is the meter in the screen? Yeah. Now all of a sudden it works again. The same 19.5 on low, 26 on medium. Is high back? Oh, and there's high, 33. So what is changing here? What is changing? I'm moving it around right now, and it's not dropping. So somebody want to offer some explanation for this nonsense? I'm going to solder this shut. I feel like I would trust the solder a little bit more than I would the connector thing it comes with. Make sure I get as much insulation off of here as possible. Give this the best shot at working. Soldering nicely at all. That's a terrible, terrible solder joint in there. It's a cold piece of junk joint. Seems to be working though. High's gone, or whatever speed this is. It's gone again. And it's back. I just can't tell what's loose. guess I'll have to put a piece of shrink tubing over this to close that up. Now everything is magically stable again. This is really starting to push my patience a little bit. This is going to require a lot of coats of varnish to get this to be stable. Alright. What I was trying to do before was to test this. This is not going to solder well. I can tell already from the way these materials have been working. So we're just going to make a mess out of it, but it'll work. Ironically, that worked perfectly. Go figure. You gotta be kidding, they're all going fine. You cannot make this stuff up sometimes. Huh. 4 nice solder joints. Incredible. Yeah, it's nice and strong too. Okay, so let's get a final check on here. Wish these tools could stop sticking to the meter. Okay, so we've got the 19.5, the 26, and the 33. Alright, at this point, I think this has been fixed. So now, I'd like to just get a quick test in before I waste the varnish on this, because the varnish is kind of expensive. So let's try to get this put back together enough to test it. Oh, I didn't put this on here. Screw that. I'm not using it. I don't think that we need that piece. No, I don't think so. The only thing that would slightly be of concern to me would be if this lifted up and then touched the housing. We just kind of get this to go down below the top, then the problem goes away. Screw anything up. If the right things have been going here, and it probably did. Huh, it actually didn't. It's a miracle. It might be worth gluing this piece on. A little bit of super glue on there to keep that in place. Although the varnish actually might hold it in place still. Alright. Yeah, that definitely has to either get glued in place or at least heavily varnished in place. We're ready to test it. I'd prefer to test it under some kind of load, the load of the blade obviously. I guess it's easy enough to just slip it back in the case. Did something fall behind here before? Oh yeah, power adapter fell. Well, that's not good. Okay, it is now secured to the housing. Let's see if I can just clip this in place. Grab the clothespin from the tripod. That'll work for now. So grab our testing wire here, and the blade. Well, the blade's currently in the dishwasher, so I'll just grab this other blade. This is the same blade, so it's an accurate test. I guess I'm assuming that that's... No, we do know it's a comment. That's the way the wiring is set up. Hello? Hello? Is this a legitimate call? Hello? 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 Bah! It was an illegitimate call. Alright, here's the moment of truth. It may either explode or work properly. We're going to hope for the latter, but I suppose the former makes for a good video too. It's kind of loud. get it on the kilowatt and see if it's drawing the right amount of power. It's something seemed a little off about it. That's right on point. So it's working fine. I guess it just was weird because it's, you know, the blades have a lot of weird air resistance sitting like this, and it's not properly orientated. Alright, so that winding is good. No capacitor to potentially zap me in here, so I don't have to worry about discharging anything. This is getting way too close for comfort. There we go. .4, that's reasonable. .05, that's also reasonable, and the speed seems about correct. Power factor is reasonable. 86 watts is reasonable. 1.05 amps is reasonable. 0.7 power factor is reasonable. 117.6 volts is reasonable, but that's not to move the motor. Okay. Well, we're going to call this repaired. I don't want to run it much until we varnish it because there's a lot of loose pieces in there. But we got it. So now, let's take this outside, and we're going to have to probably do multiple coats of varnish to get everything secured down to satisfaction. And then we have to figure out, we're going to have to extend this somehow. I'll have to think about what the best way to do that is, because I don't have any four what is it called? 4 conductor wire that's that small. I would have like a piece of Romex. It's 14.3. Technically there's 4 conductors in there, but I guess we could use the ground as one of them. Actually, that might be the route we go. Just use a piece of like a 14.3 Romex, because as long as the ground is you know, not a bare unit, I don't have a problem with that. Alright, I'll have to look around and see what I got in the area here. I'm sure I have a piece. I wonder if, are we able to pass a tie wrap through underneath these windings? I don't think so that we are. No, there's no space. So we got to figure out how to This is already somewhat warm. These things are so horrifically inefficient. It would be nice to be able to just tie all this down like with a wire tie, but we're not going to be able to unless I put a wire tie around the whole outside of it. That might be worth doing just to keep it in place. Well, I'll see. I'll varnish it multiple times, get a very thick coating on there, and we'll see. We'll go for, unless I can kind of maybe use, oh, what the heck, can I use this to kind of push it down like that? Oh, that might work. If I use that to kind of push that down, I can varnish that and they'll all hold together. Alright, I think we'll do that. Just do one more, now that I moved that one, do one more continuity check to make sure we're still good here. Clearly this is flaky. Yeah, it's still good. Alright. At this point we know that if there is any more problems, it's probably going to be right there. I should really just fill that with solder to prevent any kind of problems. I'm going to do that. Alright, let's just secure this one last piece and then we'll go ahead and varnish this. Go ahead. Hello? What is the point in calling if you're not going to say anything? That soldered very nicely. Okay, let's take it outside and do some varnishing. I should have put a ring of tape on the inside. I'm putting a lot on there. Hopefully it doesn't become a problem. If it does, we'll just have to sand it off. It's not really a big deal. We have a problem developing here. One of the soldering joints has come loose. So we're going to have to patch that back up. And I don't think I can do that from with the cover on. Nope, we're going to have to go back inside, patch it back up, come back outside and finish the varnishing. Well, it turns out that all the soldering joints have come off. So, yeah. Was not expecting that. It seemed like it took pretty good, but inherently not. I'm gonna try to like hot it, the solder in there, so it can't come loose again. Only one of those held. I guess whatever that material that this is made of, it just doesn't have interest in accepting solder. And these aren't bad joints, these are nice shiny joints that we're getting here, but it's not working. So maybe we're going to have to put some hot glue over the top of this instead. And I sure do like using hot glue. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, that last time I got more of the effect I was looking for. The solder to actually flow down in there. Now I think it's good. I wonder if I should try to get a little more in there if I'm just pushing my luck at this point. Now I feel like it's pretty solid. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any more problems with that. I think once the varnish dries, this will be held in place. Yeah, now the soldering is the way I wanted it to be. Okay, that's good. Just for good measure, I feel like I should do the same thing for that last junction on the left there, because that did have some flaky potential to it. Okay. Let's do a continuity check to make sure everything is still copacetic. Seems to be. Okay, so I think I'm not sure hot glue is the best idea, because hot glue might actually melt. These motors get very hot. Might have to use super glue instead. Crazy glue, or the heck it's called. I want to do one more coat of varnish from the other side, and then we'll close it up. The varnishing is complete. when the varnish dries, this will be completely secured. There's plenty of it in there. The only odd thing I notice is there's like a piece of material there that I've never seen inside one of these fans before. It looks like it's underneath the winding, so I'm guessing it came out like that from the factory, but it's kind of odd. So I did oil up the wicks. I did that off video. I also washed off the cabinet off video. The blade and the guards are still inside the dishwasher getting cleaned up. But in the meantime, we can go ahead and put the motor back in place, mount it, connect the wiring, and then when the dishwasher is complete, we will put everything back together. And we should have a good working product. Bearings seem good and healthy. I never noticed this before, but the motor shells are actually the same on the front and the back. There's the hole for the wire to go out. Okay, the motor is done. Bearings are in good shape, lubricated, windings are revarnished, reconnected, and this should be ready to be used. Okay, now let's see what we can do in terms of connecting it back up to the housing, which is kind of mangled. This poor 3733 had a rough life. Well, it won't have a rough life anymore. This place is a safe haven for the Lasko 3733. Alright, so what we need to do now is we have to repatch this ribbon cable. So this will get bent like this. Is this supposed to... I'm trying to think how this is supposed to go. Is it supposed to fold like that, or does it... like it have to? I think it's supposed to fold like that, which now makes this confusing because now everything's inverted. I already struggle with inversion as it is. Now I have to invert everything because now the common's over here, and then likewise. And then this is supposed to come up over here like this, and then it folds over again. Oh, actually it ends up being the same. Okay. Interesting. Alright. So this is kind of an annoying amount of wire to work with. It's a very small amount, and it's because it's a ribbon, you know, you can't slide the shrink tubing up there and so forth. So I'm going to cut this back pretty far to make things as easy as possible. I'm going to try to cut off as much of the ribbon part of this as possible as well, just to give us somewhere to work. I should have done that on here too. Guess I still can. Okay, that did not work at all. Why did that not work? Hello?
Recorded.
Hello? 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 Wish there was a legless tripod. This is going to be very difficult. This might not be the right type of wire to use for this. I just don't really have anything else that... Yeah, this is not going to work. No shot. I guess I'll just use... I guess I'll just use this. Or is this too thin? Now this is thinner. Probably 1 gauge difference. Let's see what else I got. I don't know why the heck I thought that was going to work. That was a stupid idea. Let's try this instead. I wonder if we can... Yeah, this is about the same. Maybe we can wrap this around. This is stranded wire. Let's see what we can do with this. This is still not going to be easy, but I think this will work a little bit better. Yeah, this I think is at least potentially possible. That is another stupid solar scam. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, this will work. It's not ideal, but it'll work. Wow, that just barely fits on there. That might not even work. Oh shoot, that doesn't work. Now it's stuck on there. Oh, come on. I hate when materials get wasted. I have to go up another size.
Gee, this is pretty big now for this one wire connection. This what we're going to have to do is that. No, I need the string tubing on there first. This is all sticky, like sticky molasses. That's too long. That's way too long. Yeah, it's not worth playing with it. Just leave it alone. It won't look the greatest, but it'll work. No, I can't. You can't go this far and leave it like that. You gotta fix it. But now we're up against the shrink tubing shrinking because the wire is gonna get too hot. Should have been almost half of that length. Now it's going to be too short, and then we'll say, yeah, should have just left it alone. How did I know? I think it's long enough I can still work with it, but it's very, very close now. Okay, that's better. Try to be more cognizant of that going forward. Where's the other piece of shrink tubing? Come on. Now I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna start making mistakes. Ouch, like that one. This is not good. No, I can no longer twist this wire. This is going to be interesting. Okay, that was a little tedious, but it's done. And it should be the working. So let's go ahead and test it before we shrink that wire up. This way at least we're not wasting all the tubes if there becomes a problem. And this 3733 is all the bent. That's why it's not standing up straight. Okay, there we go. That's good now. The cord was wound up correctly. That's kind of rare nowadays. There's another tripod kick. Really wish I had a legless tripod. Beautiful. Now we will shrink that tubing with the heat. Fits in there pretty good. There's enough here that it probably would have been worth getting out the heat gun for. Need to shrink that cord. No, no, no. We'll need to be very particular about this. It's not going to move around at all. Just like to make sure the ends at least are tight. Okay. I wonder if we should put a piece of wire tie around that to hold it in place. Hello. 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 No joke. This is bad today. I don't usually get this many of these blank calls. Cool. Alright, let's see if the guard... Oh, this has to go in there too. There should be a second one of these to hold the cord in at the bottom, but it is not present.
let's go see if the parts are clean now. Oh, I'm almost out of film. Wow, I started with 4 hours of film, so this project must be really taking a long time. But that's okay, we're getting good results. Everything cleaned up nicely. I put blade in the dishwasher this time. I don't normally do that because I don't know if the blades would get warped from the heat. This one was so bad I figured it's really not much of a loss if it gets any worse. It still needs to be fixed regardless. It doesn't look like it got any worse. You know what, that should be dried out first, the center of that shaft. And we're going to have to replace this handle because that is a complete abomination. I think what I'll do is I'll get the handle off of the deck 3733 because I just don't really need the handle on that one. Or I could put this handle on that one because who cares what that one looks like. Okay, I'm going to go grab that handle right now. Here's the handle from that one I got out of the trash during bulk pickup month this year. And it looks like new after a quick wipe down with melamine foam. So we put that handle on here instead of this atrocious one. And this atrocious one can go back to the one that I got out of the trash that is used underneath the deck, because I don't really care what that one looks like. Much better. All that's left is to put on the guards, and I'm gonna go have a cookout tonight. I got some steaks. That's a novelty around here because steaks are expensive. We seem to be missing some of the screws. I noticed that when I was first taking it apart. Oh, rats, I left the screwdriver outside. The guard doesn't have the cutout for the cord. That does not sit in there very nicely at all. It's not the wrong one because the other guard doesn't have it either. It's kind of weird. We only have 4 screws left. I remember these things were everywhere back in the 2000s. Used to see these all the time. There is actually still one in my neighborhood. The owners used it outside on the front porch. That might need a washer eventually.
Okay, it's back together. It looks a lot better. It should work a lot better now. It's actually moving more air than I thought it would, considering the condition of the blade. It's not as powerful as it should be, nowhere close, but it's still doing something at least. Oh, these are so nostalgic. Out of balance, of course, like these all were. Well, oddly, the medium is working perfectly. .97 amps. 179 the watts, power factor 0.75. That's all right around what I would expect. And this really needs to be balanced. This is horrifically out of balance. Excellent. Well, I'm quite happy with that. Excellent outcome. Fully restored. It's working properly. And it's even still pretty good cosmetically.